Hello, thanks for joining us. You're watching Eye on Africa here on France 24. Our top stories for you. Fighting Ebola in a region plagued by armed groups. That's the challenge facing the UN in the Democratic Republic of Congo as it tries to keep much delayed elections on track. An update in the investigation into the killing of RFI radio journalist Ghislaine Dupont and Claude Verlon, who were murdered in Kidal in northern Mali. And a look inside the shadowy and lucrative world of rhino poaching. We'll be joined by a filmmaker who spent 2 years investigating the illegal trade, and we'll bring you an extract of her powerful film. First, as fighting Ebola is in a region plagued by armed groups. That's the challenge facing the UN and health workers in the northeast of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Ebola has broken out there for the first time, and medics are being attacked by rebel groups on average 3 or 4 times a week. Here's our correspondent in DRC, Thomas Nicolin.
How to fight an Ebola outbreak in an area filled with rebel groups. This is the actual tricky situation in the North Kivu province in eastern Congo. The UN Under-Secretary General and the head of the World Health Organization just got back from Beni, where they understood that many fear that the presidential election, which is due to be held on the 23rd of December, will be postponed again.
We work together in Beni, keeping the election deadline in mind. Our aim is that the election can be held in the Beni area too. As a matter of fact, our work there can contribute to that. If we can make progress in our fight against Ebola and at the same time secure the area against armed groups, then this country will have better chances of seeing many people take part in the election.
The head of the World Health Organization assures that the Ebola outbreak is being slowed down, even though it hasn't been eradicated yet. He underlines the fact that the situation is still very fragile and that one single new case could lead to many more deaths.
Just over 5 years ago, on the 2nd of November 2013, 2 journalists from our sister radio station RFI were kidnapped and murdered in Kidal in lawless northern Mali. A judge is still investigating the killings, and this Thursday, for the first time, prosecutors met with lawyers for the plaintiffs. Luke Schrager has more from the courthouse.
5 years after the murders of Ghislaine Dupont and Claude Verlon in northern Mali, the case has certainly moved slowly, but for the first time, the association, the friends of Ghislaine and Claude, were heard as plaintiffs by investigating magistrate Jean-Marc Herbeau. Now, that was the man who went to Mali, to Bamako, in February of this year to carry out investigations. It's the first time we've seen that level of cooperation between French and Malian authorities in the case. Now, much on Thursday was made of phone records of the suspects in the matter, who they were speaking to, although little came out on Thursday that hadn't already been known. There are questions over documents that are still classified or redacted. According to one man in the room on Thursday, the matter was justified by the French military and authorities as France is still being at a state of war. Now, one recent development is that we saw a book published recently about former President François Hollande. Now, it seems that he may know more, according to that book, over what happened that isn't yet on the public record. Now, we spoke to the association's lawyer, Marie Dosé, to see what she said.
It's obvious that if something is top secret, that is our worst enemy. And often judges understand this. It's complicated. For example, we are asking for François Hollande to be questioned, and the judge's first reflex is to say, well, he will invoke the fact that it is top secret. But our response to that is to say that he's already spoken about it to journalists, off or on the record.
Now, getting new information into the light of day is very much the order of business for the association, the Friends of Ghislaine and Claude. And of course, they want to keep the memories of those two alive, but they also want to be able to move on and grieve. That's something that's been extremely hard without the answers that they've been seeking over the last 5 years.
Rhino horns are much prized by poachers. They are literally worth their weight in gold, and the illegal trade in rhino horns is pushing the species to the brink of extinction. A stunning new documentary on the trade has just been broadcast here in France. It's called RHINO DOLLARS, and one of the filmmakers, Olivia Mokijevski, is here on set to tell us more. Olivia, thank you very much for coming in to Eye on Africa. First of all, we're going to watch a short extract of your powerful film.
This is an adult animal. Having a look at the feet, the size of the horn, in excess of 10, 15 years old at least. So it was an adult. If you look at the way these horns were removed, the rear horn was cut off with a knife. There's no damage where it grows, but the front horn was taken off with an axe. It was chopped off with an axe. You can never get used to the slaughter of these animals, because that's what it is. It's on a daily basis. They slaughter them, they kill them just for this, just for the horns.
So we heard that officer there saying that rhinos in the park there, Kruger Park in South Africa, are killed almost daily. I mean, give us more of an idea of the scale of this problem.
The rhino horn today can reach on the black market around 30,000, 40,000 a kilo. So as you said, it's like gold. So it's something very profitable. To give you an idea, it's not local poaching. It's really like a huge slaughter, a massacre in the hands of the organized crime. So around 1,000 of rhinos are killed every year in South Africa. And there are only 25,000 rhino left in the world. So, yeah, probably in less than 20 years, the species will be totally extinct.
And those are very scary figures. Now, you spent 2 years making this film, travelling all around the world, and speaking not only to those protecting the rhinos, but also those who consume rhino horn products in Asia, and also rhino poachers too. How important was it for you to speak to people all along the chain, as it were?
It was important, in fact, to trying to understand the problem, because it's not black and white. You know, it's really difficult to understand, very complex subject. We cannot say like, okay, the killers of rhino are just monsters. You've got poverty, you have got greed, of course, but you have also all the black and white relationship problem. And what you can see is that most of the people are just motivated just to have a better life, you know, and also the consumers, they really think that it's going to help their daily life. They're using it in the business. They're using the horns for the medical purpose. But, you know, they said, okay, but you are using diamonds, so we are using horn. What's the problem? You know, so it's really difficult because you have to understand the point of view of everyone, trying not to judge, but trying to explain why today it's so massive. You know, it's for money, but it's not only because of money. It's also because of the social issues that you can find in Africa and also in Asia.
Given all that, given the complexity of this, is there any hope really for the future of the rhino? Because it seems this is going at a very fast pace indeed.
Time is running out, so it's really difficult trying to have hope when you know that only like 25,000 rhino left in the world. But yeah, some people want to legalize also today the horn, saying that you need to feed the market, trying to save the rhinos. That's what China decided a few days ago. You have also like scientists who's trying to collect the sperm of rhino, trying to protect the species in the long term, because nobody knows how many rhinos will stay on Earth in 10 years. So many things and many action has been done. Many people are involved in this subject, but the main question is, are we going to have enough time to save them?
Like with many environmental issues. And interesting that you mentioned legalizing perhaps the trade in rhino horns to try and regulate it better, I suppose.
It can be something like people think about it. You know, it's like pragmatic to say that, but it's also raised a lot of ethical questions. Should a rhino be cattle? Should we farm the rhinos as we farm cow? So it raises a lot of problems. It's really a society problem, and to understand which place we want to let to the wildlife today. You know, and we can say that now an animal need to be profitable to stay on Earth. That's the main problem and the main issue, and very difficult, very different from our romantic way of seeing nature today.
Absolutely. Many intriguing issues there. Thank you very much, Olivia Mukijevsky, for coming in and talking about your documentary there, RHINO Dollars, or Rhino Mafia, it's called in its English version, isn't it? Thank you. And that's it for this Eye on Africa, but do stay tuned here to France 24.